Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Garrett Thompson. This is Justin Macdonald. This is episode 16 of the Dorm Room Sports Podcast. I figured let's try a different little angle here, and we're going to go with two people, and we're going to be able to argue a little bit more. So start it off right away. Let's talk about Marner.
Oh, fuck.
Mitch Marner still hasn't signed. Mitch Marner's camp are offered the Leafs $10 million for 3 seasons, so it would be the most expensive bridge deal to date in the NHL. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't like it either way. I think a bridge deal might be our best option at this point because they seem to have trouble agreeing on anything.
Well, look at it this way. The Leafs with Marner not getting signed, that's holding out the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Right? Without Marner getting signed, no other agents know what to sign their players for. So Marner's literally holding up the rest of the league. That's why there hasn't been any really big news going on, because Marner not getting signed means no other big names are getting signed.
There definitely is also another factor of the league holding up intentionally to mess with the Leafs too. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing that's happening at all. Because when they start signing other comparables to Marner, right, then that makes it a whole lot easier on Dubas and the Leafs camp for negotiations. But if they don't sign anybody yet, then that's going to be the Leafs that have to make the first move. And from what it's looking like, they might have to pay him a little bit more than we can even afford potentially. I mean, we're looking at, 10.5 left of cap space with the LTIR, and we've got to get him signed in time to actually put the LTIR in place.
Yeah, exactly. And then, if there's a point where they're going to be Marner's not going to start the season, who do you think, obviously Kapanen needs to step up because Kapanen performed really well. I think there's another level he can get to. Who do you think we would need to step up?
I'm not sure if it's, I can see Kapanen stepping up, but I don't see him filling Marner's shoes.
Oh, God, no, absolutely not.
Well, more just in terms of the way he plays, right? He's fast. He's got a scorer's touch. We'll get to that later, but that he needs to develop. But right now, the way it stands, and I mean, part of this you can attribute to Babcock as well, but he's definitely kind of more of a Zach Hyman type player right now. He's kind of the go in, get pucks in the corner kind of deal.
Exactly, and that's how we scored a lot of his goals. And I know we talked about this, obviously not on camera. It was that big thing you brought up, the point where instead of skating and taking the outside lane, he skates right into the player.
Yeah.
And that's why he's not able to, I think, take off and use his speed, because as we all know, Kapanen's got speed. Ridiculously fast. We used him on the power play. That's why he was a big contributor to people saying why the Leafs are one of the fastest teams in the league, is because we have Kapanen, Nylander's.
Exactly. Kapanen made that whole second line just a scary thing to deal with, because on top of Matthews, right? Kapanen's great when it comes to spacing the ice, right?
Of course.
He can create out of nowhere, because you don't even have to throw him that crazy of a pass. You just need to give him a little bit of room and he'll burn somebody. Exactly. So teams have to respect that and give room over to Matty, right?
Exactly. And I think that on top of all of that, speed, on top of, how am I going to put this into words? On top of all that speed and all that skill, I think he's got a very underrated shot.
Yeah, that was something I was going to bring up. He had some snipes this year, 100%.
He did, absolutely. I think that it's a bit of even though he's in the spotlight, he's a bit of a sleeper in terms of everything that he can do.
Oh yeah, have you been seeing his Instagram every time one of the guys posts a new endorsement, and he'll always have the hashtag, still not sponsored, still not signed, whatnot.
I think that
guy's great on social media.
I like him. I like his dynamic. I like that he's signed for a decent amount of time. I like that him and Johnson have both signed. I think this will be Andreas Johnson's year. I think in a lot of cases, on top of all of our main guys signing and being big contributors for the season, I think Andreas Johnsson is definitely going to find his role this year, which I think will be second line.
We'll see.
Second line. It really depends, because without Marner, we have the GTA line, which is obviously Hyman, Tavares, Marner, which was going to be our tainted first line.
Oh yeah.
Every time we've seen on TSN, on Sportsnet or whatever, especially on social media, they all give you the lineups for different teams. Leafs fan page, which is another really cool Instagram page gave us like a brief lineup, and their brief lineup, the top line was Hyman, Tavares, Marner, like it's been in the past couple of like it was last year when Tavares got here. I think that with like it's really bothering everybody because without Marner signed, we don't know who's going to go where.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right? And like Alex Kerfoot, we all know like we had like Alex Kerfoot getting signed. That's a big centerman getting signed. I think we got a lot more for Kadri than I thought we would. I thought we would only get Tyson Barrie. Tyson Barrie kissing that first line defensive pair is going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
But
or even just supplemental, like lower down the pairings too.
Exactly.
We can always spread the talent out because
of course.
I mean we're still looking a little rough on the right side, but
of course, like we've got our top scoring defenseman right-handed wise was Nikita Zaitsev.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that always got me with like all those Ottawa trades, all those Ottawa, like we lost people to Ottawa, was losing Tyler Ennis.
Yeah, well, I can kind of see where that happened. I'm going to miss him. Like, I love that guy. I remember I was talking to a buddy of mine just when he was coming off of injury. I was saying, like, watch this guy, Tyler Ennis. He's been showing flashes. He's been going nuts. My buddy talked shit. He was like, nah, buddy, come on. And that's the game he came back and dropped a hat trick on us.
Exactly.
Like, that guy, honestly, we had a great deal for him, too. I don't remember. Did we have to sign him again?
We had to sign him. It was a 1-year deal just to see where he was.
Because he was coming off injuries with Buffalo, right?
Exactly.
So we got him for league min.
Exactly. We got him for like low down in terms of contract, but I wanted them to keep him because when Nylander was out, I thought Tyler Ennis and Austin Matthews had a bit of a chemistry going that no one really talked about.
He was creative. Tyler Ennis was a creative player.
Really creative. And he's going to a team that's going to like kind of bury that a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't fast, but he was quick, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Like he was one of those guys that could really get into the corners, just spin people around and lose people.
Oh, he was one of those, like, he was short, right? So he had a low center of gravity. Nothing wrong with short players, obviously, but like he had a low center of gravity so he could turn.
Oh, yeah.
He could turn and he could move and he could get into the open ice and find Matthews. And I believe it was Janssen who was on the line. No, Kapanen was on the line with him. It was Nylander, Matthews, Kapanen. They threw Janssen on that line as well. I was really upset because, like, with even keeping Ennis, you could throw him on the third line. You could throw him on the fourth line like they had him. We lost Ron Hainsey. I was bittersweet about that as well because we had him as a veteran presence in the room.
But the contract, yeah.
The contract. How
much was he getting paid? 2.5, 3?
Something like that, yeah. And then he went to Ottawa. As I said in the last video, he went to Ottawa for 3.5 for a year.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's way over from what it should be.
Yeah.
Way over from what it should be.
Don't tell Jeannie that.
That I can't get into how much of a clown Ottawa management has been with like how they've worked their team. They've lost so many players. They took on they're gonna like but that's where like right now Ottawa's the team where players go to get abs to just not play proper hockey. They have no one there.
So like the Oilers. The Oilers are almost starting to turn around.
Oilers are starting to turn around. I feel so bad for the Ottawa rookies. Like Thomas Chabot is absolutely disgusting. They have a lot of really, really solid players. They really do.
But they don't get noticed because they're on Ottawa, and they're not McDavid too.
Exactly,
right?
they're not McDavid. They're on the Ottawa Senators. They don't really. I don't know really how to like they. Ottawa's one of those teams where. Yeah, like they're all these guys are just they're swept under the rug because they're so good, but they're on a team that has an arena in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like even marketing wise, right? Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't follow the NHL as much as you, but I can barely fucking name any Ottawa players, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I haven't followed Ottawa since the days of Danny Alfredson, Jason Spezza, and those boys.
That's the only time when they were interesting.
Yeah, no, exactly. I used to be like a small Ottawa fan back before Battle of Ontario was as huge of a thing, right? Yeah.
Well, you have Eddie going up against Eddie Belfour going up against Hasek. Going up against like Ray Emery versus Eddie Belfour.
Oh yeah, no, I still remember the days of like playing cello 6. Alfie Heatley Spezza.
Yeah,
that was crazy. That's a good set.
That was a good team.
That's a good set of forwards.
Battle of Ontario in NHL games and Battle of Ontario in real life was like watching it and then like seeing them in the playoffs to
It'd be so nice to have another like really good Battle of Ontario, right? Because back when we're talking about, Alfie, Heatley, Spezza, Leafs.
Yeah, exactly.
Leafs were rough back then. Like they had good players. Obviously, we had
last year of like Alfredson and everything like that. That year,
we still had Sundin Caberlet, right?
But that was like we also had Andrew Raycroft, and we traded away what we would have. We traded away. We would have had Tuukka Rask if we had given away Ray. We got Raycroft and gave away Tuukka Rask, and we all know what Tuukka Rask has done. We all know what Tuukka Rask has done. A Stanley Cup,
whatever.
To the finals, to the finals. Oh my god, it's
way she goes.
An absolute loss. But like, you know what? I think we've got some good goaltending. If anybody ever came at me with goaltending, as we all know, my favorite goaltender is the starting goaltender for the Leafs.
How do you feel about Neuwirth?
No,
I mean, has he had his tryout yet? Like, I know he's got the PTO,
I don't think
right?
so. I think they've signed him to a PTO.
It's probably going to be training camp, right?
Yeah, they've signed him to a PTO. I think he'll be the backup.
We need somebody solid at the very least, because Neuwirth actually Neuwirth's proven. That's a nice thing.
Exactly, he's got some NHL experience. He's put a good. Last season, Philadelphia had a lot of goalies down, and then they had Hart and Neuwirth going back and forth. They gave Neuwirth a bit of a run, and he ran with it really, really well. He put a good string of wins together, good string of games together.
No Carter Hart, but yeah.
He's no Carter Hart, no God no, but he definitely showed that like he can still kick it.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be nice to have another proven goalie. Like, I understand why the choice was made last year to go with Sparks, because, I mean, we can say all we want about how he performed this year, but really hindsight's 2020. And at the beginning of the year, if you're Dubas, you're coming off of also just working with him on the Marlies, and then on top of that, the fact that he just came off of a fantastic season with the Marlies.
Absolutely.
I don't remember what kind of hardware he brought in personally, but
he brought in the Calder. They obviously got
the Calder, but didn't he get some other? He got
goaltender of the year in the AHL.
Yeah,
which is a big step.
Yeah,
it's big. It's huge.
It's obviously it's not NHL, but you know what? You're the best goalie in the AHL. That means something.
Of course.
And I can understand why they'd go with a young goalie who seems to have a lot of potential over
And then the year
Mac
happened.
And Pickard. Yeah.
And then the year actually happened, and Curtis McElhinney led his Hurricanes to a third round. Yeah, third round.
Yep.
And
Janssen potted a hat trick on Pickard.
And we had we should have kept McElhinney, but I'm glad McElhinney got some success with the Hurricanes.
No, exactly.
We initially I don't blame them for going with Sparks initially, because you've got 100%. This guy who's played super well. He's worked hard. He's been in the system for such a long time. He's worked his way up from the ECHL. He's played well, and you say, okay, we're gonna give you a shot, kid. And then we all know what happened. I screamed about him for months and months and months.
He just doesn't have the right play style, eh?
He doesn't have the right play style. He's slow. He's slow on the rebounds. It's not I'm not saying that he couldn't become a starting goaltender in the NHL. That's not what I'm saying. I think that he's going to be in the AHL with the Wolves to start the season for Vegas, and then maybe get called up and they'll see where he goes. I honestly think though that I was disappointed in where
he needs to calm down. I think he needs
absolutely.
Well, that's the thing. You say he's slow on the rebounds. Sure for that. And I know you're a goalie here. I'm a defenseman. I got to defer a bit of experience. But I've talked about this with my dad watching the Leafs. My dad's been playing goal for I don't know how long. And the big thing that he always noticed is Sparks just never looks comfortable in net. Yeah, he's always overreacting, overmoving to every play. Absolutely. Right? I feel part of that was just. You could probably put a little bit of that on the Leafs too. Really? Because Sparks didn't really get much of a chance.
No.
And that's why we also need the backup goalie, right? Is because we played Freddie way too much last year. Yeah. And it started to show in playoff time. He didn't have a bad performance, but he wasn't 100% what we needed.
He definitely did save us though.
Oh yeah, he definitely saved us a couple of games, but he wasn't that wasn't fuck you Freddie right there.
No.
That was not.
It was not where Freddie.
It was Freddie. It wasn't fuck you, Freddie.
No, it was a Freddie where it was I've given literally everything I've had. You guys got to pick up the slack.
Please. Actually, one funny thing I did actually notice about the Leafs last year though. For one, they definitely they trust Freddie a lot, and you could see that. But they played actually pretty well defensively when Sparks was in net.
I noticed that. I know exactly what you mean.
Like I know why they did that.
Absolutely.
So like, it'd be nice if they could bring not that whole energy, but like some of that energy to playing in front of Freddie too.
Exactly, because it gives, like, even though Babcock will most likely play him 60 games this season, for sure, that's, like, we know that. No, of course, no shade thrown Neuwirth's way.
Yeah.
But Frederik Andersen, we signed him for 6 years for a reason.
Yeah.
He's our painted starter. He can play the large amount of games. Come, like, the end of the season for the last month, we saw Babcock try to go with Sparks to give Freddie a rest. That went terrible. Like, in Ottawa, I watched that game on TV. After the game, Sparks said the things that he said, and then literally everybody in the media, every analyst, all the fans are just sitting there like, you've got an .875 save percentage, bud. Your goalie counterpart has a .920.
You're putting you're putting up Raycroft numbers like...
You made Raycroft look like a Vezina candidate, man. Like, come on. Like, I wouldn't be saying a word, but it's one of those things where it's like, he's drafted, he's never played anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where maybe all he needs is a fresh start.
Honestly, yeah. He needs more starts, really. That's the other thing.
It's not just like he needs a fresh start, he needs more than a fresh start.
He's kind of like, almost like Gauthier in a way. He didn't have the confidence. I'm really, I'm thinking we might see some really good things from Gauthier this year, actually.
Dude, absolutely.
Because I saw some flashes, but... I don't know. You know what? Maybe during preseason or something, I think I might like to see Gauthier on the third line.
I'd like to see Gauthier in a role like that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be like a permanent third liner. But like, you know what? I'd like to see the organization show some trust to him.
Of course. And
say that, you know what, we believe in you. Because he definitely, there were the 2 games during the year where he scored twice in a row.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he wasn't a huge scoring threat or anything. But you know what? I think he could be a really good asset to the team, especially if we can get him
and keep the size of his body. Like, he's a big dude.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. He's a gentle giant, but I don't think we need a gentle giant.
No, we need a guy who can drop him.
I'd like to see some confidence. Because, like, I don't know if I've ever showed you the videos when he was playing in the QMJHL or something like that. Back when he was playing. Oh no, but there's some fight videos of him. Yeah. He can chuck him. Like, he can throw.
He can throw some bombs, and I honestly think that, like, if I were to put anybody, I know there's a lot of people out there that, like, will disagree with this, but if I were to put anybody on the Leafs up against a guy like Tom Wilson, it would be Frederik Gauthier any day, because Frederik Gauthier is what, 230?
You got to piss him off first, though. That's the thing. We never really saw him pissed off.
We got to give him that role. We got to give him he can. It's going to be one of those things. He's going to be like a Leafs version of Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson can score. Tom Wilson can score. He can pass. He can do all that kind of stuff. But he can fight. And I want Gauthier in that kind of like grinder, sniper kind of role where he can.
I don't want him to go all grinder though, because I will say there ain't really much of a place for that anymore. But I will say, though, it would be nice to have somebody who can help police the game a little bit, yeah.
A little bit of old-time hockey, because you've got way too many stars on this team to not have a guy who will defend you. And I think that the big one for us for a while was Matt Martin. And I think that when we traded him, it was seen in the eyes of everybody. It was like, you're trading away. I get where you're going, where like you want to have a faster team, but you still need somebody to defend all your guys that are fast.
It's a void there.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
Actually, you know what else could be pretty good for Gauthier? If he starts throwing in some sort of John Tavares style plays, being a net front presence.
Absolutely. Well,
I feel like if they just exactly,
who's
right?
Gonna move him?
Like John Tavares is decently big, but he's not Freddie Gauthier sizing. That's his bread and butter
Gauthier's
there,
a big
right?
Dude. Gauthier could turn into a James Van Riemsdyk.
No, exactly. Like Johnny T, his bread and butter. Like, sure, he can score off the rush. He can snipe it on people. But where he did his work, where he made his money, was just down in dirty in front of the net, tapping in goals, tipping goals, or grabbing rebounds, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And I feel like Gauthier, like, he needs to. You know what? I'd like to see him drop the gentle giant thing a little bit and just get in there. Maybe not even like. That's the thing. We can either have him go like a Zach Hyman type or a John Tavares type. And I don't know if he's ever going to... Well, he's probably not ever going to have, John Tavares' ability to hold onto the puck or, create his own offense.
But
I think he'd be fantastic as a net front presence.
absolutely.
Just if we can get some, especially as well, if we can get some defensemen out there, like some third pairing defensemen that just can absolutely throw bombs.
Yeah, man.
Literally, we just have maybe one or two speedy wingers. They just keep feeding the point or throwing pucks in net, and Gauthier just is the rock right there.
Absolutely. I think
that can be an absolute shutdown forechecking line right there.
I think that for sure. The big, he'll be definitely. I think this would definitely be there's gonna be a lot of guys come out years where they're just gonna be definitely making that, they're gonna make their presence known this season, and I think that if during the season they do those kind of things, come playoff time, I think there's gonna be a lot of we're gonna be a different team going into the playoffs, and I dare say it, if we play Boston again.
Oh, fuck.
If we play Boston again, I think
Don't fight any fans in Leaf
Don't
Square.
fight any fans. We won't have Nazem Kadri to ruin everything, even though... Because, it was one of those things where, and a lot of people talked about it, it was the biggest annoyance to not have him because we could have used his body, and we could have used him so much. And I think that come next year... it was interesting. I saw a lot of people look at the stats, what it would look like next season at the end of the year, just where teams are standing.
Yeah.
And technically, if we go by Gary Bettman's screwed up playoff format and screwed up what teams do you pick to play in the playoffs, we wouldn't play Boston. We would play, I forget what team it was, but we wouldn't play Boston.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a big thing.
It was also definitely a thing of Boston was actually a legit, scary fucking team this year.
Absolutely they were. And I think that...
It shows that the Leafs were the only team to really show them any competition until the Cup Finals.
Of course.
Even, teams that might have swept a certain other... certain other
There's
team.
a team that swept another team.
A team that swept a certain other team got absolutely rolled.
Absolutely, and that was absolutely hilarious. And then that team's goalie won the Vezina, which is, I don't know. I think a certain Jordan Whittington should have won it, but what are you gonna do? But Justin, thank you very much for coming on. Great to have you.
That's not on camera. Awkward high up handshake. There we are.
It's great to have you on camera, man. It's great to have you on the podcast, man, and hope to have you again soon. Thank you guys very much for watching and now listening. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.